Welcome to InSight OnSite. I'm Wendy Brokaw. We're here today at the Salem campus of Oregon Humane to learn a bit more about their programs and services. When people think of animal shelters, their thoughts immediately go to animal adoptions. But there's so much more going on here, and we're about to find out.
Oh, hey Wendy, welcome. Come on in. So excited to show you around today.
I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be great.
It's also new.
So welcome to Oregon Humane Salem campus. So we are still the same Oregon Humane Society that people in this community have known and loved for 158 years. Oregon Humane Society is a standalone Oregon-based nonprofit. And because there's sometimes confusion with Oregon Humane Society, thinking we are part of other humane societies, we are now just really referring to ourselves as Oregon Humane. But honestly, the commitment to the people and the pets of this community here in the Mid-Valley and all over the state of Oregon remains as strong as ever. But we have this bold and really joyful new look, and we're so excited to be introducing this new logo that has like a little hint to a dog ear and a cat ear and a dog tail. And my favorite part is the little smile in the middle. Because when we think about the relationship and the connection that we have with our pets, there's so much joy to be had in those connections. And that's what we're all about here at Oregon Humane, is those joyful connections and putting compassion into action. Volunteers are the lifeblood of Oregon Humane. I have been a volunteer here since 1998, so I always say I'm a staff member, but I'm always a volunteer first. We really could not do all the life-changing programs that we do here without our volunteers. They walk dogs, they help us with events and fundraising, they help our cats, de-stress during their stay here. We have volunteers who work in our veterinary clinic who help our medical team. Really, we could not do all this work without our volunteers. When people think Humane Society, they may think that we get funding from a national organization. We are a standalone Oregon nonprofit. We do not receive any government funding or tax dollars. We rely totally on donor support. We have been serving the pets and people of this community for 158 years. About 4 years ago, we merged with Willamette Humane Society and established this Salem campus as we know it now. But Oregon Humane, a lot of people think about pet adoption when you think about an animal shelter. But really, we are so much more, and we offer so many different things to the community. So when you adopt a pet from us, we have the option of taking training classes. We have a free behavior helpline. We want to make sure that relationship with pets is rock solid. We also have humane education programs, and those are so special because they are really helping to foster this next generation of compassion and kind young people. So we have summer camps, we do school visits, we have a veterinary clinic that takes care of our shelter pets, because obviously that's very important that they're spayed and neutered and they're healthy before they go home. But our vet clinic here also does low-cost spay-neuter for owned pets in this community and does spay-neuter for community and feral cats. So really a ton of work is happening in that corner of our facility here. Well, we're going to head to the veterinary clinic next. It's right around the corner. And thankfully, you get to pass by this joyful, wonderful mural on the way. So I'm really excited to show you the vet clinic because there have been so many changes in that space over the last year and a half. So we're here at Oregon Humane Salem campus's veterinary clinic, and Mondays are special because that is the day that we dedicate to doing spay and neuter surgeries on feral and community cats. Making sure those cats have access to spay and neuter is critical to getting the cat overpopulation crisis under control. So here in the vet clinic on Mondays, we do community and feral cats. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, we actually do low-cost spay-neuter for owned pets in the community, again, to help prevent that pet overpopulation And then Thursdays and Fridays are when we do spay neuter for our shelter pets before they go home. You know, I think that unfortunately the pandemic really set us back a number of years. That pause on elective surgeries during the pandemic meant that spay neuter surgeries were paused for several months. And when you think about the number of cats that were able to reproduce during that time, and then some, and then some, and then some, pair that with just a shortage of veterinarians. You know, spay neuter begins with a skilled veterinary team that can perform those surgeries. So those two factors combined has really set us back, I would say, at least a decade in terms of trying to get ahead of pet overpopulation. So this team here works incredibly hard to make sure that we are doing everything possible to make sure there are no more unwanted litters. But there's a lot of work to be done, and we see the huge demand even from pet owners in the community who are looking for these services. Sometimes the wait list is quite long.
I've been a volunteer here for about 6 years, and the last 3 I've been primarily working in the spay and neuter clinic on Mondays when we do community cats. I'm also on call anytime, any place for animal transports, whether it's to or from Portland or to a specialist vet, such as the ophthalmologist in Clackamas or other specialty vets. My primary job is cleaning surgical instruments and preparing them for sterilization and packaging for the next day's operations. But occasionally, unusual things happen. A cat that we thought had an eye injury that needed to go to the ophthalmologist. And there's a specialist in Clackamas who does this work for us. And it was fascinating watching a cat get an ophthalmology exam. And in the end, it turned out that the cat's eyes were okay. There was some corneal scarring. And the doctor, Dr. Smiley, said, the cat is okay, doesn't need any further treatment, just don't let her drive at night. Being able to help the animals that's what I live for. I do want to say though, the people that I work with here are the absolute most wonderful people. The team works well together. We're crowded in a small area. We call it the pinball zone because we're bouncing off each other. But everyone gives it everything they've got, and I love working with them. Everyone I work with at Oregon Humane cares deeply about the animals, and because they spend all their days working with the animals, I want to do everything I can to support them.
We're very fortunate to work with a lot of compassionate rescue groups and individuals in the community that do what's called trap, neuter, return. So that is for cats who maybe are not social enough to be a pet, but they live somewhere where there's a caretaker who feeds them and makes sure that their well-being is looked after. Those folks will schedule time with us, bring those cats in for spay neuter. You saw in the clinic there's about 27 being spayed and neutered today. So it's an incredible, really group effort. Pet overpopulation is something that any one group can solve. There's a lot of other organizations like Salem Friends of Felines who do high volume spay neuter. It is one of those things that together we have to work together to make a difference. Here at Oregon Humane Salem campus, we mentioned on Monday that community and feral cats are getting spayed and neutered. The other days of the week, we have information on our website to how you can schedule an appointment here for your own pet for spay neuter. We focus on cats because that's really where we're seeing a lot of the challenges with spay neuter. So for owned cats, folks can bring their pets here, book an appointment online, come in and have their pet spayed or neutered. And then those other days of the week, we are focusing on making sure that any animals that come to us for adoption are spayed and neutered before they go home.
All right, is there anything more?
No, you're good. So Wendy, I'm so excited to bring you here into the dog area. We're in the dog kennels right now. We're in Mary's place, which is a lovely room where our volunteers and staff can spend time one-on-one with the dogs. This is Atlas. Atlas came to us from Marion County Dog Services. We actually work with them every week to transfer dogs to us and make them available for adoption. We know that Marion County Dog Services is frequently very full, so this is a huge help. And you know, we talked a lot before about cat overpopulation and the challenges with that. Well, I'll tell you who's really facing a lot of challenges right now is big dogs. Big dog adoptions across the country have slowed down. We've certainly seen that at our Portland and Salem campuses. We're fortunate enough in Salem here that big dog adoptions have not declined too much, but we are always looking for ways to make their stay more comfortable, more enjoyable, more stress-free, and really, you know, while they're waiting for a home. And one thing that I wanted to mention too is that there is never a time limit on the amount of time that a pet is here and available for adoption. We've had pets who have been with us for months. So we have a pet in Portland who's been with us for about a year and has been in a foster home. So really, we are always working hard to make sure that these animals are learning new skills, right, Atlas, to get ready for adoption and have wonderful new lives. The thing about young, energetic dogs is, you know, we have so many programs and services and care and volunteers who help take care of the dogs. But you know, the reality is when you're a young, active dog, this can be a very stressful environment. And so nothing is quite as good as a loving home. We have foster parents, so some of our dogs who are with us longer term do go into foster care. But again, what we're aiming for is that permanent loving home for dogs. He's a really good boy. And you know, he's just very symbolic of a lot of the dogs that we're seeing these days. They're young, they're energetic. You know, it can be difficult for people to find housing, to afford care for larger dogs, but we know that there's a lot of compassionate people out there that are ready to open their heart and their home to a big dog. I have 2 big dogs myself, and so I, you know, really, they just make our lives so much richer in so many ways. Yeah, and he's 2 years old, so he's a young boy. He's ready for some summer fun. You want to go camping and hiking this summer, buddy? Whee!
And children. He can be around children.
You know, I think older children, because as you saw, he's a little bit of a bull in a china shop. And so we want to make sure that it's kids that are pretty stable on their feet, because he can be pretty exuberant. But again, he's calmed right down after getting to say hi to you guys for a couple of minutes. We have volunteers who walk them 3 times a day. We have running teams. We have all sorts of great stuff for the dogs. And you know, the one thing that's really interesting is our animal care team and our behavior team work very closely together, and they meet almost daily to really talk about, you know, how are the various dogs doing, who's showing more signs of stress, who needs more enrichment, who needs more time out of the shelter. So you know, that just goes a long way to making sure that they are happy, healthy, and thrive while they're in our care. Come here, buddy. Atlas, want a cookie? Who wants a cookie? Ooh, you get a cookie. Cookie, cookie. Come here. What's this? What's this? There you go. You know, one thing our team does, I think that is really impressive is, you know, keeping a dog's mind busy can be just as important as keeping their body active. And we have different enrichment things that we do for the dogs, like building toys with treats in it, so they have to, you know, find the treats in the toys. We do other type of sniffing games. We take the dogs on what's called a sniffari, where they can just, you know, spend time really sniffing the grass, sniffing the other animals that might be in the area. All of that just goes a long way to keeping them happy and calm while they're here. So we have a lot of training classes for folks once they adopt. While the animals are here, our animal care and training and behavior team works with the animals when they're in the shelter to make sure that their stress level, stays as low as possible, that they have opportunities for enrichment. We have volunteers who even take our dogs out running. So while big dogs are facing so many challenges and waiting longer for adoption these days, here at Oregon Humane, we are lucky to have the staff and the volunteers and the expertise to really help them stay healthy and happy while they're here before they go home. Okay, all right. Ready to go back, sir? I know the afternoon dog walkers will take you for your longer walk. Come on, we're gonna go have some more kibble. Ooh, I think you were getting your dinner before I left. Dog coming out. So right now we are in what's called Education Hall here at the Salem campus. It's quiet now, but it won't be like this much longer. This is the space where we have after-school clubs and we host summer camp. Oregon Humane has a humane education program that is deeply rooted in our history. If you go back to Oregon laws 100+ years, humane education was actually mandated for children in schools. And so today, this is such an important part of what we do, because if we can instill a love of animals and compassion and kindness in young people, those young people grow up to be adults, and they're really the next generation of ensuring that animals are treated well and have a special place in our heart. So this room is, again, going to be very busy in a couple weeks. Our humane education program here in the Salem area did about 129 school visits in 2025. My dog, Willow, is one of the dogs that has the opportunity to go out to visit kids in classrooms. And during those school visits, kids learn everything from how to safely approach a dog, how to understand a dog's body language. What are some of the careers in animal welfare? What is some of the things besides being a vet? A lot of kids talk about, I want to be a vet when I grow up. Well, there's a lot of other things that you can do in animal welfare. And the more kids are exposed to those different opportunities, the more opportunities they have to thrive. There are so many different things that Oregon Humane does to engage young people and to help them connect with other young people who also love animals. I have a friend whose daughter attended summer camp, and she's made some really great friends out of those connections. So these youth services overall that we have here at Oregon Humane are so special, and I just absolutely love seeing these kids thrive as they are talking about how much they love animals. Think about how tough it is right now to be a kid and how isolating it can be. If you are in a room full of your peers who also love animals, like that is such an incredible thing to forge that connection on. The other thing I've seen with some of our youth volunteers and some of our campers is the pride that they take in understanding a cat's behavior or telling us about a dog that they helped learn how to sit. So all of those things just really boost a young person's confidence. It helps them connect with other kids who have that same set of values. And ultimately, it really makes a stronger community. So this is an updated vision statement for us. We just unveiled it a couple of months ago. And it really speaks to what our staff and our volunteers in our community is doing every day. You know, a lot of times we have the compassion, we have the desire to help, but we're not quite sure how. And here at Oregon Humane, every day we're putting that compassion into action, whether it's helping a scared cat kind of, learn to trust, whether it's an exuberant dog and teaching them to sit, whether it's helping our community cats receive spay-neuter services. We have a lot of people who come in here to the shelter who might be experiencing a crisis. We are seeing more people coming to us for help if they have lost their housing. People that aren't able to afford to keep their pet. So, we care for animals, but we also are very passionate about caring for people. And a lot of people that, I remember when I first started volunteering 20+ years ago, everybody wanted to do this work because they cared about animals. More and more animal welfare is shifting towards caring for people and pets. Whether it's keeping that bond intact by helping that pet owner have the supplies or education to be able to care for their animal, or it's also about helping that person who may be in crisis and maybe needs to surrender their pet. You know, we know a lot of people are struggling with housing and the economy, and you know, people have deaths in the family or need to go into assisted living. I mean, animals come to us for all sorts of different reasons, but I think the one thing they have in common is usually there is a person's story tied to that animal.
There are a lot of cats in here. Come here, can I eat you? Come here, Bubba. I know, it's gonna be weird. Oops, it's okay. My name is Hobie Pearson. I am the Customer Care and Admissions Manager at the Oregon Humane campus here in Salem, Oregon, and currently we are in our cattery. So the process for adopting a pet, generally I suggest people look online first at our website, OregonHumane.org. You can see all of our available pets for adoption are listed on there. Once you see a pet on there you like, or if you don't have access to the internet, you can come here to the shelter. We're open 10 to 7 daily, and come on in. You can look around. Once you want to meet a pet, you will go to our front desk area, let them know who you want to meet. We sign you up to meet. We'll take you into an area to meet that pet, and we'll discuss everything that we know about that pet. If it's a good match, it's same-day adoptions. So adoption fees range anywhere from $25 up to $500. The adoptions come, all animals are spayed or neutered, vaccinated, microchipped, and then of course there's support during the adoption process. After the adoption, we have a training and behavior hotline. If anybody has any issues with any kind of behavioral issues with an animal, they get a health certificate good for a free vet visit. So there's a lot of perks for adopting. And as far as the process goes, we are open from 10 a.m. to 7 a.m. every day. It is first come, first served. Just come on into the front desk area. You can ask who you want to meet with. We set you up to meet with them in a room in the shelter here and go over everything we know about the animal, and then it's same-day adoptions.
There are so many different ways people can get involved. First, I want to invite everybody to participate in Doggy Dash Salem. That is taking place June 6th at Riverfront Park. It is an amazing, just joyous festival. It's a pet-friendly festival with contests, demonstrations, food trucks. There's a walk and a run. It's such a beautiful location. You can register for that at doggydash.org. We are hoping to see everybody in the Salem community come out for that. You don't have to bring a dog with you, but please come out and celebrate our love for animals. The other things you can do, we met some great animals today. Adopt. Adopting is such a great way to support this mission. Fostering. We are coming up on kitten season. We rely on our foster homes to care for animals who are too young or too sick or not healthy enough to be available for adoption. So they are critical, especially during kitten season. And then volunteer. I have spent most of my adult life volunteering for Oregon Humane. It is one of the most special things I've ever done. I've met some of my dearest lifelong friends here. That saying of when you give, you get so much more back. I think we saw that earlier with Alan too. It is just such a special community here.
I've been doing it about 6 years. I started when I was caring for my mother. She had dementia and she loved animals, and it was something that we could do together. And I didn't do as much trapping at that time, but we did a lot of transport for other rescues. We've done lots and lots of driving to do transport for rescues. And yeah. And I stayed in it. My mother passed, and I stayed doing it because it was important. Yeah. Well, feral cats and stray cats are two separate entities. Feral cats are cats that have been born wild and have been raised wild, and they're not approachable. Oh, today I brought 6 in. It's a drop in the bucket compared to the need, for sure. Yeah. The cats did not choose this life. It's not their fault. They didn't choose this. Every stray feral cat out there is at some point the result of human failure. And it's not their fault, whether they are a pet that has been abandoned, which we're seeing a lot of that now, whether they were lost at some point, never recovered, whether they were born feral because a previous cat was dumped outside and their subsequent litters were born feral, whatever it is, they are the result of human failure. I don't feel like I'll ever leave rescue just because the need is so great, and I feel strongly about it. And other rescuers are the same. Other trappers, that do TNR are the same. They're passionate about it. They're trying to do the best they can to eliminate. I feel like it's never going to be solved in my lifetime, but it's important when a young person expresses an interest. I always want to take them under my wing and try to teach them some of the tricks and tools that we've learned. That way they kind of hit the ground running, and they are that much farther ahead and don't have to start at ground zero. And so we welcome anybody that's interested in trying to get into rescue and learning more about it, because we need the help.
To learn more about Oregon Humane, visit their website at OregonHumane.org. Thank you for joining us on InSight OnSite. I'm Wendy Brokaw.